Hey folks, my name is Yuki the Geekimus, and welcome back to the channel. I've been sick the last few weeks, so I've been enjoying quite a bit of anime in my own free time just to kind of recover. And one of the comfort animes I rewatched was Angel Beats, one of my favorite animes of all time. And a simple thought came to my head. What if we wanted a sequel anime, or some kind of new animation? What would we want from this? Let's get into it. I guess before we fully get into asking, well, how do we make a sequel, the first official question should be asked very simply. What is Angel Beats and what's it really about? Well, Angel Beats is a 2010 anime that was done by Aniplex and PA Works, and it's a story about the not dead yet battlefront and our main character Otonashi, who's awoken in a strange world. This world is basically a purgatory-like world for a bunch of people who had really tough lives, and now they have a chance to essentially relive a normal school life that they didn't have a chance to have. Rather, if it's something like not friendly home lives, or just dying prematurely, or having some kind of unfortunate drug-related issues and all that. The series itself is really good, focusing on giving us a lot of good comedy, action, and heart when you need it. Of course, Angel is another part of this formula, not just the members of the Not Dead Yet Battlefront, or Kanade. At first, we just simply think that she's an NPC who's working for the system, until you eventually find out that she's actually, in reality, another human in this world who's trapped just like everybody else. And of course, everybody is fighting against one of the hardest things not to do, and that is to officially leave, or AKA, be reincarnated. And basically, the Not Dead Yet Battlefront's big thing is going against God. Eventually, because when Kanade and Otonashi start working together to help people pass away, or pass on, I guess, the world essentially rejects them. And all the NPCs of the world actually start being corrupted into these horrifying monsters. And apparently, if they touch a member of the Not Dead Yet Battlefront, it essentially changes them into an NPC, wiping away the personality and person they were. Yes, this world's more or less kind of like a video game to an extent, but it's a purgatory. And because of the person who made this world, more or less, love cannot exist because they lost their love and destroyed their hearts. Now, if you want my own personal touch, a little bit of game theory here, I personally believe to an extent that the reality is that Otonashi is the original person and he became an NPC for a while until he reawoken a few centuries later. But that's my own personal theory, not anything dictated to by the actual story. And of course, the Fantastic Anime actually does really amazing. It covers a lot of fun stuff with a mixture of good action, comedy, and of course it ends with the great moment where the last four members of the Not Dead Yet Battlefront pass on after having a graduation, and Otonashi and Angel have one last moment. And at this moment, Otonashi finds out that Kanade lived her life because of organ donation from him when he died in the world. Now, it's weird that Kanade was there for what we can believe 100 years, basically, while Otonashi only just woke maybe a couple months ago. So it's a little weird. I think it really adds into my theory that, he's the creator of this world who lost his heart, but, I'm doubling down on something that I don't have any evidence for. But it's fascinating to just see what Angel Beats really was and what it became. And, of course, from this ending, we would think there'd be a tragic ending, but instead you see that at the very end credits, that someone who is the reincarnation of Kanade is humming one of the songs from the show, and you see that Otonashi, as a new reincarnated, hears it and follows after her, showing that in a new world, they do find a way to actually end up with each other. And of course, the big question is, well, why do you think this needs new stuff? And it's just because, well, there's a lot of ways to do it. And honestly, because I love this show and I love to see more done with it. Yes, the original was made in 2010, but there's a lot of animes that rather have new versions of themselves, new seasons years later. I mean, think about how long Bleach was on hiatus. I mean, hey, D. Gray Man, I believe, is got a brand new series, so hey, why not Angel Beats? So let's get into it. My 3 ways that I would honestly think we could make a brand new season of Angel Beats. Let's go. Number 1, the Horimiya approach. Now, a lot of people are probably confused. Well, why are you bringing up a different anime when you're going to be covering how to make a new anime for Angel Beats? And, well, Horimiya honestly has one of my favorite ways that you could technically make a brand new season out of Angel Beats. And we have to look at Horimiya to kind of explain how you could do it. Now, a big thing about Horimiya, it is a anime that got a complete run. It covered its main story and completed itself, and of course, a lot of people loved it. But there were some complaints by the audience that there were quite a bit of manga chapters that were cut and not covered by the anime. More or less because the anime was trying to do a complete story, and it did a fantastic story, it did. But I do admit, looking at the Horimiya manga, they did leave a lot on the cutting room floor. And then they made a new season of Horimiya called Horimiya The Missing Pieces. And basically they were a collection of cut chapters and stuff that was not put into the main series. So, well, there's your solution right there. Angel Beats, and we just different segments of the story we didn't get to see with new stories. More or less, we have an opportunity to show different bits and pieces of the story we didn't get a chance to see. That means we get more chances to spend more time with a lot of the members. We don't see a lot of the rock, the whole music group while they're still together in the main series. On top of the fact that we get more time with different characters who we really love. And I think it'd be a fantastic way for us to expand out the main story of Angel Beats. Imagine we get a lot more of rookie Otonashi before he's more proficient with weapons. Maybe we get to see more missions, because, obviously Yuri had a lot of missions in the backboard. Well, isn't that a great opportunity to just expand out? And even some of Angel Beats' main stories could be, stuff before Otonashi shows up. Or we could even see a mission, the mission that led up to Otonashi being found as one of the episodes. Because it's very obvious they are on a mission, because why else would Yuri be out, with a firearm if they weren't on some kind of mission? I think it would be a pretty interesting way for us to get different bits of the world of Angel Beats without sacrificing the main cast or losing any of the main characters. So at least that's my first solution of how to get a new season of Angel Beats. Number 2, adaptating the prequel manga. And of course, that's the main premise, is trying to take... There is a prequel manga to Angel Beats called Angel Beats Heaven's Doors. And it covers the prequel story following Hinata as the formation of the Not Dead Yet Battlefront starts to be formed. We get to see a lot of the characters be brought into the, to the organization, and also at the same time, we get to see a lot of characters in their earliest forms. We get to see some of the characters be completely different before they actually join the group, and we get to see who joined earliest, who was there as early as they were, and honestly, it's got a lot of good... I love the story, honestly. Even seeing how the guild was built was pretty interesting to see. Seeing them slowly figuring out how to make weapons. And even it's interesting to see the kind of relationship the early bits of the Not Dead Yet Battlefront had with Kanade early on. It's a very interesting dynamic that you don't really suspect from Angel Beats. And it's very different, because it does follow Hinata really explaining to us the main story beats of how the series overall works. And to be 100% honest, I think it's a really good banger. It's a great series, and honestly, there's enough content here to maybe get 2 seasons out of. And hell, why not? You get every main character eventually, except for Otonashi. Now, Otonashi would probably be in the very beginning of episode 1, before the main theme song plays for whatever they would choose. And would show up at the very tail end of the series whenever, Hinata's finishing up his retelling of the story that he's telling Otonashi. It's a rather unique approach to how to do the series, and I'll be 100% honest, I think it's always been a dying shame that they never did anything with it. The art style is great. Seeing some of the characters in their earliest forms, crazy. And also, it's great because you get a lot of characters like backgrounds of how they die or how they ended up here. A lot of those stories that just never got to the actual page here. So I think it'd be interesting to see what they would do with it. Let's get into the final idea. A real quick editor's note before we get to the last part here. I did just want to mention it's a dying shame that the manga series only got a single volume in English before it was cut short. I would say if you guys really want to check this out, I fully recommend Angel Beats Heaven's Door. It's a fantastic part of the series, and I would say it's a must-read if you're a huge fan of Angel Beats. Wherever you read manga online, I would say you should definitely check this one out. Back to the video. And, of course, number 3. Making a sequel follow-up based on the alternative ending. And yes, if you didn't know, Angel Beats a few years back on one of their Blu-rays released had a alternative ending that was actually released as a bonus feature on the Blu-ray. And it covered a pretty unique alternative ending to the series, showing that after Kanade told him about everything and Otonashi was devastated at the end of the series, that instead of actually passing on, he actually more or less takes the position of Kanade in this world, becoming the new student body president and being more ruthless and angry about people who aren't fighting against, rather passing on or fighting against God. And more or less, he becomes a new villain in this series as he sits in the student council room, more or less waiting until rather Kanade ends up back there, or just to stay there forever, suffering. And honestly, I think it could be a really fun way to go from there, and it would really get some good ideas flowing. The downside to this is, in fact, that it would only be Otonashi remaining, with maybe some flashbacks from the main series, or maybe some new scenes from the original series to give us some character flashbacks. But it would be a new way to get a brand new cast, a full new cast of characters, potentially forming their own Not Dead Yet Battlefront. Even potentially using the old resources from the original group against Otonashi, and I think it'd be rather interesting. I think it'd be interesting that a new group of Not Dead Yet Battlefront trying to use the old tactics of them, but of course Otonashi was a member. And I think that's something that maybe mid-season they'd find like some kind of photo or something that would show Otonashi as part of the main group. And I think that'd be a good turning point for the series, because maybe at that point they'd figure out that maybe Otonashi's just like them. And I think this would be a really neat premise. Of course, I think it's the one that'd probably be the least popular with the anime community as a general, just because I think a lot of people would be upset missing all the original casting. A lot of things that people love about Angel Beats is the main cast. So I do think this idea is good, but I think you miss out on a lot of people who love the original casting. So, in my own personal opinion, I love it, but I do understand it's a very, maybe not as favorable approach, and maybe a little darker than people are used to. But I feel if you have the right writing team, you could get some good comedy still out of this. But that's my own personal opinion. So, in conclusion, these are my 3 ways to get a brand new season out of Angel Beats. Now, the first question should be, obviously, do we need a new season of Angel Beats? No. But do I want a new season of Angel Beats? Well, yeah, I really do. Now, honestly, I personally do believe that a new season of Angel Beats probably will never come. But I'm going to say that if they do make a new season, it's going to be one of these 3 solutions. You're rather going to have to do a, season that's pretty much just bits and pieces between actual episodes we know and love. Follow up on the prequel manga following the Not Dead Yet Battlefront's formation. Or you're going to have to more or less go off of the alternative ending where Otonashi stays in that world. Honestly, I'm a big fan of Angel Beats, and I think this is really fun. So, guys, let me ask you. Are you a big fan of Angel Beats? What do you think about that kick-ass opening of the show? And in your opinion, which of these 3 endings would you like? Tell me by putting the number in the comment section down below. If you guys want to watch more anime or upcoming with Pokemon Legends ZA information on brand new Pokemon stuff, subscribe because we're going to be covering a lot of Legends ZA very soon. We're going to be coming up with a very big video covering everything related to Legends ZA, what you need to know, what you should get now as mystery gifts, and what's upcoming very, very soon. I am Yuki the Geekimus. Geek out.